Hey there YouTube, welcome with Crew3 back for more weekly deck techs after an unfortunately prolonged delay. But I'm back now and Pioneer feels like a brand new format with plenty of people wanting to join on the fun after Monday's massive ban list shakeup. So to kick things back off, these first few weeks will be budget builds for people looking to expand their Pioneer collection or join the format on a budget. Now let's get started with Mono Blue Snow. First up are a trio of 1-drops. 4 copies of Spectral Sailor can be flashed in, allowing us to leave up counter mana and then grow our board depending on what our opponents do. It also gives us a late game mana sink to draw some cards if things go long. Next are 4 copies of Siren Storm Tamer, which lets us counter a spell or ability that targets one of our creatures, or more importantly us if we want to protect our hand from Thoughtseize effects or game-clinching burn spells. Lastly, we have 4 copies of the new Kaldheim Ascendant Spirit, which gives us a great reason to go snow. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any evasion to begin with, but it becomes a massive threat later on in the game and gives us another way to use our extra mana on our opponent's turns. The rest of our creature suite is 3 copies of Merfolk Trickster, to give us main board interaction, letting us tap down aggressive creatures, or removing abilities from important creatures like Omnath for a turn. Next, we have 4 copies of Tempest Jin, who acts as our big game ender with ever-increasing power, or can hold the ground with its Keely statted 4 toughness. Finally, we have 4 copies of Sea Dasher Octopus, or Ninja of the Deep Hours as I'm contractually obligated to call it, thanks to podcast co-host Chris. Octopus is great at upgrading our flying 1-drops if we mutate Octopus on top, and then helping us draw extra cards to keep the party going. And like with other cards in our deck, once again gives us another way to use our mana on our opponent's turn thanks to Flash. Our spell suite is pretty straightforward. 4 ops help us dig deeper and filter out our draws, and for those willing to stretch the budget, I highly recommend the Yargle Art. 2 copies of Spell Pierce because let me tell you, people won't play around it, and it's great for countering Bring to Lights or the splashy Planeswalkers in mono green. Next, we have 4 copies of Catch-All Lofty Denial, doing its best as Pioneer's mana leak since it's pretty easy for us to have a flying creature on board. Then, 3 copies of Essence Capture to turn off our opponent's creatures and turn them into fuel for our creatures. Rounding off our main board spells, we have 4 copies of Curious Obsession, which in a similar fashion to Octopus levels up our creatures and puts more cards in our hand. Okay, let's speedrun the lands. 3 Faceless Haven gives us a big beater in the late game, and if you caught on to the theme, gives us a mana sink late game when we're out of cards in hand, and unlike Mutavault, gives us snow mana for our Ascendant Spirit. Then, we have 17 snow-covered islands, and that's it! For our sideboard, we have 4 copies of Mystical Dispute for any rival blue decks, 3 copies of Aether Gust to slow down big mana green or red decks, 3 copies of Tidebinder Mage for the aggressive green or red decks, 3 Weathered Runestone for decks trying to cheat impermanence through cards like Collected Company, Winota, or Genesis Ultimatum. Finally, 2 copies of Bind the Monster to disrupt any aggressive decks at the cost of some life points. This deck comes recommended for anyone looking for a tempo-style strategy with plenty of ways to make use of mana on your opponent's turn, giving you a very powerful deck for those on a tight budget. Speaking of budget, as you can see I'm going to start including the card prices for the decks at the time of recording, which brings our total cost to $46.88, or just shy of 13 ticks on MTGO. But really you're looking at $80 because you really want those Yargle ops. As always, this has been Ruckman with Crew3. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to keep up with our weekly deck techs. For more Pioneer content, you can find Crew3 A Pioneer Podcast on all major podcasting platforms, or you can join us over on twitch.tv/Crew3MTG, where I stream several nights a week. If you'd like to see your name added to this wonderful list at the end of all of our videos, head on over to patreon.com/Crew3MTG, support the podcast and this channel. Talk to y'all next week. Bye!